Shannon Gilbert was last seen running from this beachside community over a year ago. The search for the missing escort has uncovered a graveyard of human remains along this shoreline and launched one of the most massive police investigations ever on Long Island. It was a night that began chillingly with the movie Nightmare on Elm Street. Shannon went to see a remake of the film in Jersey City at 8 that evening. Afterwards, she got an answer to her escort ad posted on Craigslist. It was from a man named Joseph Brewer, who lived in the small community of Oak Beach. According to Shannon's driver, Michael Pack, they pulled up to Brewer's house around 2 a.m. He sat in the car outside while Shannon went in. He says 3 hours later, she came out, delirious, on drugs, and upset. She went in and out of the house more than once, and according to her phone records, at about 5 a.m., she called 911.
She was on the phone with the state police for a considerable amount of time. That young lady did not know where she was. All she knew, as far as we know, is that she was driven to Long Island near Jones Beach.
Pack says sometime after she called cops, she stumbled out of the house and finally ran off. He followed her in his car as she headed down the dark road to neighbor Gus Coletti's house.
And all of a sudden I heard somebody screaming and banging on my door.
Coletti says he had a brief, disturbing encounter with a frantic Shannon.
She says, "Help me, help me." And I asked her what was the matter, and she didn't answer me. She just stood there staring at me.
Coletti says Shannon crouched behind a boat next to his house as Michael Pack drove up. Pack didn't spot her at first.
He says, "Oh, we're having a party down there," and the girl got upset and left. I'm looking for the girl. Then she bolted from under the boat and ran around the gatehouse, and he took off after her.
Michael Pack says he never found her. Shannon had fled past this gated entrance to Oak Beach and past that security camera. But just like Shannon Gilbert, the surveillance tape from that night is mysteriously missing.
I still believe that Pack is the last one to have seen her because he was the last one to go to the neighbor and say, "Have you seen her?" and kept going. And then she disappears.
But Shannon's family believes there was one more person that came in contact with her that night, Oak Beach resident Dr. Peter Hackett. Shannon's sister says Hackett called them right after Shannon went missing. He claimed he ran a home for troubled girls and Shannon had stayed at his house for the night but left the next morning with her driver. At first, Hackett denied any involvement in Shannon's disappearance.
I returned some calls. I never saw Shannon Gilbert.
But recently, Peter Hackett told several media outlets that he did make calls to her family, but he never saw her or had anything to do with her disappearance. But for Shannon's family, just as disturbing as those calls was the reaction from police.
We tried pushing it to them, but they kind of just ignored it.
Suffolk Police Commissioner Richard Dormer says nothing is being ignored.
We've investigated that night very thoroughly. We've interviewed all the principals involved. That's still an open case. Shannon Gilbert is still an active investigation. We would like to find Shannon Gilbert, either dead or alive.
So far, no one that saw Shannon that night has been named a suspect in her disappearance, including Joseph Brewer, Michael Pack, or Peter Hackett. But her friends and family believe someone in Oak Beach knows more about what happened that night.
When we went to Gilgo Beach on the 1st for her anniversary, we walked the whole neighborhood saying, "Oh my gosh, she ran all this, screaming and yelling at 4 o'clock in the morning for her life, and no one heard anything or saw anything."
And there are also haunting questions involving other victims. The teenage sister of Melissa Barthelemy says she got a series of taunting phone calls from someone claiming to be the killer. The calls came from her dead sister's cell phone. At the request of investigators, the family is no longer talking to reporters. But police believe other Craigslist escorts out there may hold the key to finding the killer.
Through past history with serial killers, they do not murder every contact that they've had. So it is possible that there's an escort out there that has been in contact with this person or persons.
Suffolk is offering the largest reward in county history for information leading to an arrest in this case, $25,000.
We're going full tilt with this investigation, and we want people to know that there's a killer out there, or killers. We want to bring that person or persons in.
And pressure is mounting on police. What began as an icy cold December discovery is still unsolved as the summer sun beats down on the same beach. 10 bodies uncovered, 1 woman still missing, and whoever's responsible still out there. The search for Shannan Gilbert continues. Long Islanders wait and watch as this story unfolds. The families of the victims pray for justice and hope a killer is found before another body is uncovered. I'm Lauren Sivan.